So Mr. Amber back here with the cutting lesson for the grade 8s. So here are the knives here, and this is what it would look like here. You've got this bin, and the bin will always be somewhere on the desk, and you'll notice they're labeled with the different sizes. So go ahead and find out which table you're at by the stickers on the table, and choose the same knife for where you are sitting. That way there'll be enough, and at the end of the class you'll bring it back here. So let's say I'm going to choose 3A for example. A couple things to know about the knives. First of all, in terms of rules, inappropriate use. There is no walking around with a knife exposed, and I'll show you carefully how to do this, but this is an example of the knife being exposed. You can't walk around with a knife like this at all. You can't walk around with a knife, even if it's closed, to socialize or anything, and there's no inappropriate use at all. If there's going to be any inappropriate use, like you joking around, then you just won't get to work with X-Acto knives. So for example, if somebody goes to another person with the blade retracted and says, "Ha-ha, I'm stabbing you, ha-ha, isn't this funny?" There's no doing that. If I see that even as a game, then you're just not going to be making a t-shirt. And I think that's fair because these blades are extremely sharp. You can do a lot of damage in a very short period of time. Now, looking at the blade, how we use it. Okay, so let's see if I can turn my light here and give a bit more light. The blades, this is the locking mechanism over here. So basically, if this is touching here, you can slide the blade back and forth. So when it's in this location, before you put it away, you should pull this piece back here. Now it's locked. So even if you're walking with it, I'm pushing, that's not going to open. As soon as I push this bottom part forward, now it can slide back and forth. So I'm going to slide it forth so that a little bit of the blade is exposed. Let's see if I can zoom in here so you can see. There are little lines on the sides of these blades. There you go. You can see them now. And you want basically one of those lines exposed like that. Then once you've got the right amount of blade exposed, pull back on that bottom tab and it won't move while you're cutting. Then how you cut. This is a tricky part. People want to cut like this, straight down, like as if it's a pencil. The problem is the cutting part is here, and that means very little of the blade is being exposed to the paper, which makes cutting rougher. You can cut like this, but it gives you a much poorer cut. What you should do is put your hand over top the blade, which changes the angle and makes it more like a 30-degree angle. If we were to have it sideways, this is your paper, you're going to cut more at a 30-degree angle instead of straight up and down. That's a bit hard to get used to, but that's how you should be doing. Now, when it's time for you to cut, I'm going to ask you to cut a circle and a square. Okay, so when you cut, you're going to want to put your hand behind where you're cutting. The reason is very simple. It holds the paper steady. You don't want the paper moving around. Number one. Number two, if you have your hand down below, boom, you can cut your thumb and have spurts of blood. So, you start, and you can put your thumb very close to where you're cutting to hold the paper steady. Now, I put my finger down on top, my thumb here, and I sometimes even put my finger to rest on the side there, but you don't have to. Basically, you pull down towards you. And then it's nice and easy to pull towards you. It's very awkward to go this way. So I'm going to turn my paper when I'm going to do a line straight down. You can turn your paper as many times as you want. I find going up to down, up to down easiest. I can also go left to right pretty easy, so maybe I don't have to turn that. And then I would cut my piece out. Now generally when you're cutting out, you throw these pieces out and the stencil is what remains. Now to do curves are a bit tricky. I like to kind of, in my brain, divide those curves into 4 arcs, which is what I've done here. So I'm going to do this arc first, which is going to be a little bit left to right. So left to right, I'm going to cut until it gets uncomfortable. Then I'm going to turn my paper again to cut from left to right. Turn my paper again, left to right, and turn my paper again. Now notice I've gone off of the line. That's not necessarily such a big deal. I didn't cut exactly on the line. Unless you've got another print behind that has to line up perfectly, if you get off the line, not a big deal. If your paper rips, also not a big deal. You can simply put a piece of tape and tape that up. I'm also going to show you how to make a band-aid. So a band-aid is, let's say you've got a design and you've got these 2 pieces here, very close by cut, and this part here, let's say it ripped. Okay, that's going to happen. And you want it attached. So it's very simple to make a band-aid. You take a piece of tape, you put it on your cutting board, and you simply, about the width that you need, you would cut basically a little band-aid out of there on the tape and just peel it off And then you've got your little Band-Aid here, and you simply apply it right there on top, and boom, you're good to go. When you're done, please take off that tape, because that tape will stick there, and that's a problem. So now you've got a Band-Aid, you know how to cut. After you're done cutting, when you're ready to cut, you cut a square and a circle, and you show me that, and it lets me know that you're ready to cut. You've seen how to do a Band-Aid. Also, one more thing. Your blade may get dull. If it gets dull, come and bring it to me, and I will snap that off for you. And that is it for how to cut.